invasion strategy. Now, having selected the segments to enter, the final strategic decision concerns the method of invading the segments. That is, how do you enter into a particular segment? Once you have decided the segments, next part is targeting and positioning them. So it is known as the invading. The new terms are included in this syllabus, but the meaning, you please understand, it's market targeting and positioning. That is what is invasion strategy. How do you invade the competitors? That is what it simply means. Now here the questions is whether all firms should invade all the segments at once or whether they should pick them off one at a time. Now this depends on the resources that the firms, the availability of the firms. Suppose if the firm is much more stronger in finance, it has no problem as far as the finance part is considered, then it can think of launching the product in each and every segment. It can think of. But here again, with the proper marketing research, it has to enter. Usually the firms enter with a single segment and then strategically try to change the segment position themselves segment wise. So we say that a firm is more successful if it concentrates its efforts on one strategy and one objective at a time. Achieve the objective and then start with the next objective and frame a strategy to move ahead. Here it ensures that the resources, they are not thinly spread, they are concentrated and are much more utilized in a proper way, in a better way. So a target market is the market or market segments the firms, they focus with reference to marketing efforts. Now, as we have seen in the previous sessions, that the options include either to go for the mass marketing, where the companies, they come with a single product which is offered to all the masses, no variations with reference to different segments. It's a single product where all of them, they are the customers, they are considered here, and there is no customization of the parent product. So initially, any firm, if you take, it begins with this approach. Now here, the problem is only few of the customers will be satisfied. Suppose if a customer is looking out for a particular attribute, and if it's a common or a generic product, okay, which is catering to the need of the masses, then there is a problem. Then this segment would be left out. Those who are expecting something different from the ongoing routine trend of a item or a offering. Now here, only two conditions are there in which this is possible here, that few of them would be satisfied. First thing is the demand side of the equation, and is the position where there is little variation in the needs of consumers for a given product or a service. That is one thing. Second thing reflects the supply side of the equation and refers to the ability of organization to develop and sustain a single marketing mix that satisfies all. Now here today, if you see in today's competitive market, rarely it happens that competitor will satisfy all the customers. The company will satisfy all the customers. It's not possible. If you want to sustain for a long term, then maybe the company should undertake some variation or some choices has to be given to the customers. Otherwise, the customers will shift to a competitor product. Now, against this is a single segment strategy where the company concentrates on only one segment, single segment with a single base. Now, here the problem is if it caters to only one segment, okay, on the basis of in that single segment also, if there is no variations taken into consideration, then there is a risk. In case the segment fails, for example, if a company is into a premium segment, they are into the luxurious category of products, then in case of recession, like today we had faced for the last year the problem of corona. So here if you see, people have not spent much on luxurious goods, only whatever are the genuine requirements on that maximum of the customers they have spent. So here it becomes a problem if the company is into the premium segment, selling this product or services is very risky and it becomes a major problem here. Now here the company also cannot change its position from the luxurious goods to a middle segment or the lower segment. It will dilute the brand because this scene would be temporary. In the business, any situations are not for the permanent period. They are just for that stipulated time. And the company cannot think of having a wave-like posture or a graph. Like as the situations change, they cannot think of changing the segments. They can enter new segments with a new product category or a services, but they cannot think of positioning the same product to the mid segment. They have to come with a different brand name with different attributes. Otherwise, this brand will be diluted. Now here there is also a multi-segment strategy where the targeting different products or services and developing a marketing strategy for each segment. That is also one good strategy. If you have more segments with the more offerings, it's better for the organization. But here, one thing is sure that it can be extremely resource demanding. That is, companies should have that much resources available with the organization to cater to the needs of the multiple segment, the customers in each segment. Each segment has to be analyzed carefully and then the product has to be positioned. Now this is about the single or multiple segment strategy. Now here there are certain factors which influence the choice of targeting strategy when a company thinks of targeting a particular product with reference to that segment. There are certain factors which have to be taken into consideration by the organization or by these companies. Like the first one is the stage of a product or market maturity. Now see how one strategy is linked or one concept is linked to the other. Now just we are studying about the segmentation, targeting and positioning. But here the stage of product market maturity, this deals with the product life cycle, PLC concept. So when basically you take into consideration the maturity stage of any product or a service industry, it becomes a very critical factor in making the decision as far as the product portfolio management is considered. Now, at the introduction stage, when the company enters into the introduction, there are very few competitors. If you are a pioneer, there is no competition at all. But suppose if even though you have entered, there are very few customers in the growth stage, and when you enter into maturity stage, there is cutthroat competition, and that's why the product has entered into maturity. There could be many reasons, like there may be the technology is one of the important aspect, entry of more competitors, the external factors like the government norms, all have to be considered here. Now the nature and intensity of competition at each stage of PLC, they are very important in guiding market targeting decisions. So if the product is at the maturity stage, the company thinks of renovating it and targeting it at a particular segment. It needs to change its strategies. Somewhere it needs to change its style, its look, or remold it totally to cater to the needs of that particular segment. So this is a continuous process. Every now and then the managers think of including something that is value addition is always in the minds of the managers. More value addition or changes, choices given to the customers, more would be the product would be stable in those segments. That is one factor. Second thing is extent of buyer differentiation. Now, buyer wants are similar. Wherever there are buyer wants are similar, there is less scope for the extension of the segments. But where the wants or demands of the customers they are much more diverse or varied, their extensive segmentation has to be undertaken. Now, where there is more variety and variability, of course, there has to be the competition. More competitors, and that's why the companies look for value addition in offerings, some differentiation strategies. Now, here it depends upon into which category of product portfolio the company is, whether it's into the insurance, in banking, in FMCG categories, in pharmaceuticals. So it depends upon the product and the product portfolio of the company. Now here, in case of pharmaceuticals and all, or maybe a product like generic products, like staples, there is less scope for differentiation. Now the market position. Again, this is one important factor. The firm's market share plays a vital role. Low market share shows that the company is in a high competitive market with more of the segments occupied by the competitors and the company itself. Against this, when the company has the high market share, it shows that the company is in a much more good or better position. In case of competition, it has, in spite of competition, it has been able to penetrate into the market. So here the company can think in terms of type and range of products offered, which is the one thing, and the method by which the product is produced, the cost and speed of distribution, or the credit and service arrangements. So here, this market position of the firm is also an influential factor in targeting and positioning of the product. Now here, companies spend a lot of time in identifying and exploiting unique segments. Maybe something new, the untapped market. They're always trying to find out the untapped market. Many a times it serves the purpose, but many a times it may be just a failure also. Structure and intensity of competition is one of the factors. Now, when several firms are competing in an industry, selective targeting is often an appropriate target market strategy. If more competition is there and you are into a generic product, so you are in the flow with the competitors here. Whatever comes on your way, your share, it's okay. But when you have the selectivity, it's often essential for small firms in a fragmented, transitional, and global industries. While for the large firms, they have the benefit of extensive market targeting. And usually, they are into the multiple segmentation strategies, these large firms, but small firms, they just want to cater to a particular segment, and they are ready to just cater to the needs of those customers and gain the market share. They are happy with that. They don't want to go beyond. And if these small firms, they want to go beyond, then in that case, they will have to modify the product portfolio. When the company thinks of expanding the segments, it adds to the pressure on the company's resources. So the financial position should be much more strong here in this case. The adequate resources. The position of resources, uh, it's considered in various target market alternatives. The resources wherever the for the companies, the resources are very much limited. Okay, it's better the company thinks about single market segmentation. It does not take the multiple segments into account. Where the company is very much strong, very much confident about the resources, then it can think of expanding it. Production and marketing scale economies. Now, target marketing strategy may be influenced by production and marketing scale of economies. So see here, if the company is into the generic product, into mass marketing, it will definitely have a positive influence on the marketing scale economies, because over the time, the funds will be utilized, or it will spread through the production part. To have full scale attainment, there should be large market coverage. That is, they usually company take into consideration the mass marketing to gain the economies of the scale. If you have variance, then this amount or the finance would be dispersed, or it would be divided, and hence the company would not achieve economies of the scale. So this is about the factors which influence the market targeting and positioning strategies. Now here, whether the screen is visible?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now here there are the 5 factors which govern the attraction of the segment. Now basically the first and prior important thing is the segment size. Okay, each and every segment size varies. Now here, if you take into consideration the company which caters to the kids segment, okay, that size would be totally different. And in kids segment also there is a lot of differentiation. Suppose a company is into the manufacturing of the toys, the size would be different. If it is into the clothing, it would be different. If into the baby category or baby products, it would be different. So here, how attractive is the segment size? The company should take this factor into consideration. For masses or for the products which are into the mass marketing, the size does not matter that much because it's a generic product. Like your toothpaste, toothbrush, your staples, milk products, dairy products. Okay, so here there is no problem as far as the segment size is considered. Now, those companies which are into specialty goods, okay, in that case, this is more important. For special categories, for special segments, the segment size is less as compared to the mass markets. Now here, when the company comes with the technological innovation in certain products, in that case, the company can expect the segment which is low on its size. Here, more focus is on gaining profits. When the price are higher, when the segment is premium, then the profits are earned to through satisfying these customers which come into this upper segment. So depending upon the segment size, the company takes the decision as far as the targeting and positioning is considered. Current and potential competition. Now here, current is latest or whatever is present in the market. That is what is current competition. And potential maybe in future, if there is a possibility of new competitors entering into the market with some, there is a threat in this case. Now here, maybe in a particular segment, okay, the company had a monopoly, but slowly and steadily, if the competitor comes following the strategies or innovating the existing product, then there is the threat for the company. It needs to think about catering to the other segments, or it needs to mold a product with reference to the competitor strategy. Otherwise, there would be problem as far as the company's survival or sustainability is considered here. Now, the capabilities of business. How capable is the business to diversify or cater to the segments of the business? Now here, with reference to these points, okay, let me finish the next one and then I will discuss profitability of the segment. How much profitability? Now here, the segment size is a different aspect and profitability of the segment is a different aspect. Now the company, if it thinks of entering with a new technology driven product or something USP it has, then, and it appeals to the masses, of course, then the profitability is much more. But if just for the sake of tapping a segment, you introduce a product, and suppose if the company is not able to catch the segment, then it would not be a profitable business. There are many offerings introduced in the market. Maybe they saw a segment, they saw the cap, and they introduced. But the products might have not clicked up to the expected level or up to the expected mark. Now, whether you can think of such products which wherein the companies have identified the gaps, they have positioned the products, and the product has not performed up to the expectations. Or maybe as a customers, you feel that actually this product was not that much needed, but it has been introduced. Hello. Now here, okay. Now we all know the Dettol brand, isn't it? Now because of the corona, if you see the ads of Dettol have increased, aggressive marketing has been carried out. Okay, they are focusing on germs and cleanliness because the environment today is uh, where everybody looks for the health and hygiene, isn't it? So here, with that, under the same brand name, the company has gone for the extension. It has come up with the wipes. If you have just seen the recent advertisements, whether you have seen anybody of you. So they have introduced these wipes. They saw this as a segment, but now let us see how the product clicks in the market. Because if you see this wet wipes market, okay, usually in the households, the wet wipes we don't use for cleaning usually. One thing is into the baby sector, it is there, and second thing into the beauty sector. So this gap identified by the company, it's again a doubt. Even they have introduced the fabric care, killing the germs and all. That is what is the theme. There it has been leaked upon. Now that segment they have identified, but how much the product clicks, that is again a question here. Now here, if you see the company like Patanjali, who is aggressively marketing based on the concept of their Ayurveda, slowly and steadily they have uh, occupied the market share. Now previously most of the market share was occupied by PNG and HLL, the two giants in the FMCG category. But today, if you see, these multinationals are facing cutthroat competition from the Indian product. Now, here, if you see the segments, this Patanjali company has giving a cutthroat competition to these MNCs in each and every segments. Many of these companies, they are now into the R&D, and they have also came up with some new products to just fight with this Indian company. So here when we analyze this, okay, now here for the company to sustain in the business, if it does not mold, if it does not come up with new flanker products, then maximum share will be eaten up by the other companies. So this is about the factors. I will not go into the details. The next is customer centered organizations. Now, customer centered organizations should study what customers value and then place an offering that exceeds their expectations. Ultimate aim is satisfaction of the customers. The customer should be delighted. That is what is the expectation. And if the companies do this, then it is well and good. Now, when the company thinks of positioning, the first and foremost thing is defining the customer value model. The company first lists all the product and service factors that might influence the target customer's perception of value. So how the company can think of enhancing the value of the offering or a service. That is what is taken into consideration. Building the customer value hierarchy is again important. Customer value hierarchy we had studied in marketing management, the basic core level, the expected level, the augmented level. So here the company should think about the offering from the customer's point of view. That is what it means. Third is deciding on the customer value package. But the company chooses that combination of tangible and intangible items, experiences, and outcomes designed to outperform competitors and win the customer's delight and loyalty. So, how this package can be decided? The company has to come up with different options now. Now, moving ahead is the differentiation part. Now, differentiation is the act of designing a set of meaningful differences to distinguish the company's offering from competitors' offering. The more the differentiation, better for the companies to sustain in the market and hold their own market share. Now, these physical products vary in their potential for differentiation. At one extreme, we find there are certain category of goods where there is little variation is available, while at the other end, you will see the category of offerings where tremendous differentiation is possible. Now, here there are certain characteristics on which a company can think of differentiation. The first is the form. Many products can be differentiated in form, that is, the size, shape, or physical structure of a product. Now, here, mostly if you see, when we consider the size and a shape or physical structure of the product, cosmetic industry is one of the industries where this differentiation is carried out on this aspect. The size basically differs, the shapes. The more attractive the package, the more appealing it is to the customers, because customer here the aesthetic value is more in case of cosmetic industries. The physical structure of the product. Now, if you take a furniture industry, furnitures, okay, there also the aesthetic appeal is more important. The physical structure of the product is important. The size and the shape matters. Similarly, automobiles. For that also this thing matters. Now coming to the features. Most products can be offered with varying features, characteristics that supplement the basic function of the offering. Being first to introduce valued new features is one of the most effective ways to compete. Today, in this era of cutthroat competition, each and every company struggles to offer something unique. Unless and until it is unique, they cannot think of attracting the customers. So here, if we take an example of the hotel industry, in that case, the services offered, how the services are more different from the competitors, that has to be enhanced. Otherwise, people will not get convinced. The decor, the rooms, the furniture, the service of the personnel should go beyond something what is expected, the basic level from the customer's perception point of view. The company should delight the customers through their services. Then only they can catch the customers. Otherwise, it's not possible for the companies to catch hold of the customers. When the company think of adding a new features, they should take care about the pricing factor also. Pricing, as well as they should not lose that segment in the purview of just adding value to the offering. The company would also need to consider how many people want each feature, how long it would take to introduce each feature, and whether competitors could easily copy these features. Otherwise, it happens mostly that the competitor copies the features and enters as a follower and slowly, steadily grabs the market share. So the company should also think in terms of features, bundles, or packages for the customers. Performance quality aspect. Most products are established at one of four performance level, that is low, average, high, or superior. Now, performance quality refers to the level at which the product's primary characteristics operate. So here we are speaking of functionality. Now here when we think about this performance quality, basically if you take automobile industry into consideration or the electronic goods, this can be a USP for such category of products where the companies can think of having their own unique identity or unique feature introduction. A company must also manage performance quality through time. Like the manufacturer continuously improves the product. Every now and then the new feature is added, the product is upgraded. Often this produces higher return and market share. The other strategy would be to maintain product quality at a given level. Whatever quality is there at that level only, uh, the quality is maintained. Now here there are few customers who will purchase only that product which satisfies the quality, and they don't want to change the product. They become the loyal customers. Even a minute difference in quality will switch these customers to the competitor product. And the third strategy would be to reduce product quality through time. Suppose if the company, because of some problems, as far as the resource part is considered, thinks of lowering the quality here, then it should be prepared. Okay. In this case, if a particular class of customers identify this differentiation in quality, they are bound to switch. If it's not visible, then it is fine. Otherwise, the company here, when it, especially when it is in the critical phase, where the resources is the basic problem to manage. So in that case, the companies also look out for such options. Now, if we say the conformance quality, now buyers expect product to have a high conformance quality, which is the degree to which all produced units are there identical and meet the promised specifications, like durability. Now, durability means the expected operating life of the offering for the certain products. Reliability. Now, the buyers normally pay a premium for more reliable products. Now, reliability is a measure of the probability that a product will not malfunction or fail in the stipulated time frame. That is what is the reliability. The product should be reliable. Or the brand should be reliable. Similarly, here one more aspect is repairability. Buyers prefer products that are easily repairable, easy to repair, maintain basically. It's a measure of ease of fixing a product when it malfunctions or fails. Now here one cannot think of repairability in case of a premium product. Okay, maybe in terms of electronic goods, if there is some malfunctioning, then they expect that the services should be rendered. Basically here the motive is that the thing should, the basic function should be maintained here. Now basically if you take computer hardware or software companies offer technical supports, they come into this repairability to the customers. They maybe the companies just handle the queries of the customers over phone or mail or fax and try to fix the problem. That is what is expected. That is the service part. The style describes the product's look and feel to the buyer. Now, buyers are normally willing to pay a premium price for this. When we say it's a style, maybe clothings, maybe designer grade clothings are there, maybe shoes are there. So a buyer is willing to pay premium price. Now, this style has the advantage of creating distinctiveness that is difficult to copy. It's not that easy for the competitors to copy the style. Style may also reflect the differentiation signature also here in many cases. Once the competitor copies also, it is visible that the competitor has copied it. Even the customers, they come to know about it. Now here, when one thinks of the styling aspects, one cannot guarantee that strong style will always mean higher performance or higher profits. It just means that you are offering something unique to the customers. That is what it intends to say here. Now the design, the integrative force. As competition increases, design offers a potent way to differentiate and position a company's products or services. So through designing also the company can think of differentiation. Now design is the factor that will often give a company its competitive advantage. Design is the totality of features that affect how a product looks and functions in terms of customer requirements. So if we see the automobiles, four-wheeler or two-wheeler, generally we speak in terms of design. Did you like the design? How is the design of the good? Now, basically, design is particularly important in making and marketing durable equipments, apparels, retail services, and packaged goods. One can think of differentiation on the basis of services also. When the physical product cannot easily be differentiated, the key to competitive success may be lie in adding value services and improving their quality. The main service differentiators are ordering ease, delivery, installation, customer training, customer consulting, and maintenance and repair here. Now, ordering ease refers to how easy it is for the customer to place an order with the company. Now, many banks, they provide home banking software to help customers get information and do transactions more efficiently. Consumers are now even able to order and receive groceries without going to the supermarkets or any of the products today because of the IT revolution. So that is ordering ease. The delivery, the products are goods are directly delivered to the customers. That is the ease. Many many a times even the free delivery services are there. The deliveries are not charged. Installation. Installation refers to the work done to make a product operational in its planned location. Maybe equipments are there when it has to be installed, or software packages are to be installed on the PCs. So this is the installation. So this ease is provided to the customers. Customer training refers to the customers employees to use the vendor's equipment. Now this is in terms of B2B, business to business. Customer consulting, many a times the person, the service provider acts as a consultant by giving the free services, free advices. Maintenance and repair, which describes the program for helping customers keeping purchased products in a good working condition, good working order. Miscellaneous services like improved warranty or maintenance contracts, they can establish the awards also to the customers. Now here the company can think of differentiation on the basis of personal also. Personal, specifically if you take into account the services sector like airlines, hospitality industry, hotel industry. Okay, the most important thing here is the personal differentiation. Now here the competence of these employees of the personnel, the courtesy, the credibility, the reliability, responsiveness, and their communication. These aspects or these factors play a very vital role in personal differentiation. Through this also the company can think of differentiation. Well trained personnel is an asset for the organization. Channel differentiation, the companies can achieve competitive advantage through the way they design their distribution channels, coverage, expertise, and performance. Now, here the company can think of having their own innovative ideas to reach to the customers. They can have the online mode, they can go for a click and brick model, they can just think of having a retail outlets, exclusive retail outlets of a single company in a city where the customer enters and uh, does not go empty handed. All of the products irrespective of different segments are placed under a single roof, under a single uh, umbrella. Now here if you take electronic goods, maybe you have a very big showroom, the person enters and he just has a look at all the electronic gadgets for a single company. That is what it means. Difference in the channels. Through unique channel strategy, the company can succeed. Image differentiation. The buyers respond differently to company and brand images. The identity and image need to be distinguished. Now, identity companies comprises the ways that a company aims to identify or position itself or its products. So many a times we say, what is the image? Image in terms of perception of the customers. The company has to create its image. It has to take the efforts in creating the image in the minds of the customer. So image is the way the public perceives the company or its products. Now, an effective image does three things. One, it establishes the product's character and value proposition. Second, it conveys this character in a distinctive way so as not to confuse it with the competitors. And third, it delivers emotional power beyond a mental image. So, here's the emotional touch is given to a offering. That is what it means as far as the image is considered. Now, in terms of symbol, now images can be amplified by strong symbols. Many a times we just have a look at the symbol and we come to know about the company. So, what does this signify? That the image, the penetration of the company into the mind of the customers is so strong that easily they recognize the company. So, these symbols also play a very major role. The media. The chosen media must be worked into ads and media that convey a story, a mood, a claim, something distinctive. This rest of the 3 points we will discuss in tomorrow's session in detail. Today we will stop here.